Hello everyone out there, this is Peter Harris from Commercial Property Advisors, author of the book Commercial Real Estate Investing for Dummies, and coach and mentor to many commercial real estate investors all across this great nation of ours. I have a very powerful message for you today, and that message is for spouses. It's for the married folks. It's for the married couples. And the message is there is power in unity. Whenever a husband and wife have a goal of purchasing commercial real estate to change their lives, if they are in unity, there is power. Now, men, listen up. You know that the hunt for success is always greater when your queen is just as thirsty. And you ladies, listen to this. It doesn't matter what's in front of you if you know who's behind you. Right, ladies? So there is power in unity. And this, what I want to share with you, is such a couple. I call them the powerhouse couple. They're beginners. Their names are Eric and Aaliyah. College sweethearts. Been married for 16 years. They have 4 boys, Judah, Joshua, Micah, and Nathan. I remember their names because when I met them online, I can see the spirit of excellence all over these boys. So the parents are doing an awesome job there as well. So what I want to do here is share with you a little bit about them. So in 4 months, Eric and Aaliyah went from 0 to a 16-unit apartment building. They purchased it for $900,000, but it all started with a text message from an unmotivated seller. And as you probably know, in our company, we teach our students to contact the seller directly. In this case, they did just that. But let me stop here. Many of you struggle finding deals. In this case, the seller contacted our student. Isn't that incredible? The other incredible thing is Eric and Aaliyah found an unmotivated seller from a text message and converted them to a bona fide seller of a $900,000 16-unit property. Amazing, right? And they're just beginners. Now, another thing is nearly all of their down payment came from investors. Yes, Eric and Leah had skin in the game. They had a small down payment. They put in this much, but they raised this much from family and friends and investors. Incredible. Now, in that process, 100% of them that were interested actually invested. What that means is everybody that Eric went to see if they're interested in investing did actually invest. How often does that happen? Hardly never. That's why there is power in unity, when 2 or more come together. Next is a little bit about the property. 16-unit property. It's turnkey. Turnkey means there's no rehab required. They're going to cash flow from day one. Lots of rent upside. And as you know, as you can increase the rent, you increase the NOI, property value goes up. It gives you lots of options. And then it's a good neighborhood. What else could you ask for? Great deal. Next, your exit strategy, it's a 5 to 7 year hold. Okay, so are they going to sell in 5 or 7 years? But in the interim, in 3 years, they're going to cash out refi, pull the money out, and pay back to investors, and then hold their property for a little longer. Great strategy. This is a model of any husband and wife or spouses that want to work together, how it's done. All right, I have a special guest, a power couple who just closed on their first deal last week. And welcome, Eric and Aaliyah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
Thank you so much for taking your time out this morning. And everyone out there, Aaliyah and Eric closing their first deal. The reason why I have them on this interview here is because they're a husband and wife. And as you know, being married is not that easy. And you add investing to it, oh boy. But these two, over the months that we've mentored them, I was just amazed at how they got things done, right? They are a power couple. They complement each other so well in their skill set. One does this, one does that, but it's all heading down the road to closing a deal, and they pull it off. So this interview is about how they did that. And for married couples out there, I want you to watch this interview. All right, so let's get started. So Eric and Aaliyah, tell us a little bit about yourselves. What do you guys do for a living?
Well, first and foremost, we're believers. We're Christians. You know, we are madly in love with Jesus, and we believe he's madly in love with us. And everything in our life stems from that relationship. Everything from our family, our careers, our relationships, everything stems from that. So that's who we are. We are happily married now, 16 years.
As of yesterday.
As of yesterday.
All right.
Yeah.
All
So we
right.
celebrated our 16-year anniversary. We're super excited about that. And we're raising 4 strong, awesome young men. Judah, our oldest, then Joshua, Micah, and Nathan. So we're blessed. We're a happy family, and things are going well for us.
Awesome.
So I work for my church doing finance and administration.
Yeah, and I'm in sales management. My day job, Monday through Friday, is sales management. I work with an awesome group of individuals for a phenomenal company, and we do a great service in helping veterans and seniors in general.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, now we want to jump into why you called us and you wanted to get into commercial real estate. So share with us your why. What's driving you?
So we always wanted to be in real estate. We always had a passion to own things. We just never knew how we would do it. We thought we would start with one house here, one house there over the course of 2, 3, 4 years. And in 10 years, we'd have 3 or 4 houses. And that's the best we thought it would work. And that we realize now that's the slow play. And so Aaliyah discovered commercial real estate investing, and I'll let her take over from there, how that came about.
Well, basically, Peter talked us into it. We came across the YouTube videos, and I just love the way that you taught. You made things very simple, and your videos had a lot of content on them. Like some videos are just kind of like bait you, but don't really give you a lot of info. Your videos were a lot more interesting and had a lot more information. And I'm like, I like him, and I like how he teaches. We need to contact them for, coaching and helping us. Yeah. So that's how we came along your program.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So let's jump into the deal, right? Tell us about the deal.
Goodness, it's a really good one. We're really excited about it. It's 16-unit apartment complex. So we went from 0 to 16 units in, for a few months, 4 or 5 months. And it's a really good deal. It's not a fixer-upper. It's not a rehab. It's a true turnkey. 15 of the 16 are already leased, and the 16th one will be leased very soon. We're going to make some improvements to it. We're going to, manage the property well, work with your team in doing so. And we're super excited to own it. We just took ownership last Monday. We could not be more excited.
Correct.
It has a lot of upside. The rents and things are really low. And so we have a lot of room for increasing income. It's also, like Eric said, not a fixer-upper. So we don't expect to have to put a lot of capital into it, which is great. Yeah. And it's in a stable neighborhood. Yeah. It has a stable history of occupancy. So those are just all great indicators for us. We found this deal by Peter's Methods. Yeah. And basically, we just kind of followed by the book. As beginners, we were like, we don't want to deviate too much into what we think. We just want to follow Peter's methods, and all of the training that we received was just spot on, and we just did what we were told to do, basically. And so we built great rapport with the owner. Eric did a lot of that part.
It's funny. It started off with the text message. Our first correspondence with him was via text, and he just simply said, "Hey, heard from you all, and what are you looking to do? I'm not really looking to sell, but everything's up for discussion." And that's how it began, basically. And that text message led to a few other text messages, and based on your advice and how to kind of move things along, we eventually had a conversation, and it led to documentation going back and forth and figures and whatnot, and we were able to make an offer, and it was a good offer, and it's a fair offer for him. He's able to get what he's needing, and it's a good offer for us, and so it's a true win-win. Awesome opportunity, and it's just neat working with people. And you talk to us a lot about solving problems. Not that he had a problem, but clearly he was wanting to do something else, or he wouldn't be selling.
Right.
And so we were able to come to him and bring a solution to a problem he didn't really realize he had until we brought it up. And so now he actually, great guy. He's actually moving on to another property. I believe he's got it under contract already with the proceeds from this deal. So it's just a blessing as you continue to go through it.
Well, first of all, Eric, I have to say that you were really good with the seller, and you mentioned something very key. You found this guy directly and you contacted him. He texted you, right? Without the intention, he didn't have the intention of selling. So you converted him into a seller, right? Right. And then secondly, during that whole process of going from contacting the seller to gathering information, that's when I saw Aaliyah kick in and gather information, right? So that's when I started to see how you both work well together. Eric was doing this, Aaliyah was doing that, and you guys came together. I thought that was powerful. I saw that from day one.
When we first started out, we prayed about this. Like Eric said, we, involve the Lord in everything that we do. And so we prayed about it, and we prayed that the method that you trained us in would be most successful as it could be, overly successful. And it did. We did have other owners reach out to us. We just couldn't tackle all of those. But we believe that, the favor of God was on our doings. And then number two, attributed, of course, to your training, your way of coaching us on how to reach out to these owners. They could tell, and multiple ones responded with, you guys, for being new, know a lot of things. You seem well coached or trained or mentored or something. So we did receive that back. And so we, like I said, did it by the book, and we were, knowledgeable. We ate, slept, breathed CRE for months in the beginning until we got the deal and just went forward with that. And the seller could tell that we knew what we were talking about, and that we were well prepared and well informed.
Even when there was instances in which we didn't know, or the form wasn't what it needed to, whatever the case may have been, we built such rapport and had favor with the seller that he understood, and he knew, again, we're new. So he wasn't expecting, what's going on? You guys didn't know this part of the deal. We just explained, well, hey, we're going to reroute and go this route, and we got around it. Many instances. And it's interesting that had we not gone this route, and I'm sorry, Peter, this wasn't your direct question, but it's important to say, had we not gone this route, we would still be searching for how to do it. We were committed to going commercial real estate. We just didn't know how until we found your program. We would have been still adding this video, what we got from here, what we got from there, this book, and I've got this part over here from some seminar. We've been still trying to piece together how to move forward. And I'm certain that 4 months in, we will not be owners of a small apartment complex. That's an absolute certainty. So again, this program is phenomenal. I can't say enough about it.
And through the training, we were able to really secure training and prayer, secure funding. And we went through a lot of ups and downs with the funding, just trying to, kind of figure things out in the beginning. We first tried to do it on our own. We tried to do, the financing on our own. And then we needed a business entity, and then, just kind of different things. And we just kind of kept hitting roadblocks, and we kind of calmed down, prayed about it. And then, raising capital, we knew people that had money, but you just don't always feel comfortable going to everybody just asking for lots and lots of money. And but we were led, by the Lord on who to approach and that type of thing. And we had family and friends all pitch in, and we were able to raise the capital that we needed above the down payment and have extra for, just the working capital for the property. And then we did traditional financing with the help and backing of some of our partners in the deal.
Well, and that's important, the financing aspect of it, as far as how we went about it, because it's one thing to call and just tell someone off the hip about a deal you're working on. It's got these upsides, and Aaliyah and I are just getting started, blah, blah, blah. They don't want to hear that. But when you put together a presentation, a perspective that has all the ins and outs, the financing, the income, the upside, the conservative results, if we knock it out of the park results, all that information, the industry and the community and the demographics and all of that. And that's what the program allowed us to do, was put that together in a nice professional presentation. And when I showed that I showed it to 2 or 3 individuals, and both of those individuals are our partners today, our guarantor partners, and a few other individuals are also. I don't know that I showed it to anybody. I don't think anyone we showed that to said no. Everyone that saw it, saw the vision, it made sense. And these are individuals that know what they're doing and saw the upside and said, you got a good deal here, let's move forward. It wasn't much convincing once we put together and showed them the presentation that your program allowed us to put together.
That's great. What's your extra strategy?
Cash flow, refi, and sell, right?
Okay.
So it's got strong cash flow already, even with the rents being where they are. We're well below market rent. It's going to be increasing cash flow as we make improvements and increase in rents. Probably refi in 2 to 3 years. Pay off the investors, of course, make sure everyone gets their funds back. Another 2 or 3 years of strong cash flow thereafter, and then a sale year 5 to 7, depending on the best time to do that.
Sounds like an awesome deal. And I look forward to continually coaching you guys. We'll be meeting once a month, going over the cash flow. That's how you put together the system so you can scale.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So, one of the reasons why I want to do this is I just saw that you both were a powerhouse couple. Even though you're beginner, you guys just got things done. And now, so I'm wondering if we can just take a few minutes here and share maybe your top 3 tips for, married couples, partner couples, what have you, how to get in this business and how to, basically do what you just did.
Well, the first thing I would say is have common goals. In the beginning, you asked us about, what got us into commercial real estate, and your videos did, of course, but also with that, what's driving us into commercial real estate is, like he said, we have sons. We want to build a business for our sons to teach them a skill set where they can learn this skill and use it to their benefit in the future. We have other family members we would like to get involved and be a part of a family business. We've always wanted some type of family business, and this is going to be it. And so we had those type of common goals in the beginning.
Yeah, and the other piece, being goal oriented, number one, of course, but number two, I would say communication. We know how each other communicates. And also I know where my strengths are and where her strengths are and my weaknesses. And she doesn't have any weaknesses, right? But I know where mine are. But no, we really, like you mentioned, we know where each other needs to be in a deal. So I always let the seller know at this point, my wife's going to get involved, or you may receive an email from my wife. She's going to help us with this aspect of it. Oftentimes when I'm talking to the seller, I'll call Aaliyah just to have her on the phone so she can hear how that conversation goes. Not necessarily that she can't do it herself, but it's just good that she's in the loop. Or she sometimes can pick up on things that I may miss. And so it's good to have her involved as well there. And I'll watch as she's doing the financial piece and working with the attorneys and the documentation. I'm out on that type of thing. All the fine print, you can miss me with that. But she loves it. But I'm not just absent. I let her do that and we work together, but I'm always watching and learning. So I'm involved as well. So goals, yes. Communication is key. You've got to communicate, be open with each other. Sometimes I'm like, Aaliyah, here's what I feel like we need to do. And she won't just push back. She may give her opinion and she'll go with my opinion in that instance. And other times she feels strongly about a certain direction. I'm going to go that direction because that's her area, or she just feels strongly about it and we do that. So yielding to one another is important as well. So that's for married couples, but a lot of that applies to just two buddies, two partners and go in business together. Those things could apply there as well.
Yeah. And like Eric said, along with the communication, knowing how we communicate with one another. Sometimes we don't always agree. Sometimes we have to take a few hours or half a day or something to just kind of like, okay, put everything out on the table and say, okay, here's where we are. We don't know how to move forward. Okay, let's compromise, as he was explaining. But, my way of communicating is very different from his. And his way of management, we had to learn one another in business. This is the first time we've really been in business together. And so it was a learning curve for us, but because our communication skills with one another is strong, it was a little bit easier to kind of work through those difficulties and those things that do pop up and will pop up. And then along with number 3, what he said about strengths, and I wouldn't say weaknesses, I would say differences, strengths and differences. We early on kind of decided, not really knowing a lot on how the whole process would work, but we knew there would be certain things that would come up. And so, okay, he's like the sales and personality on the front end talking to the seller. So we kind of agreed he would do most in all of that. When it came to getting and gathering documentation, financials, and entering things into our system and all of that, we did that. And then as things progressed, we kind of started to identify, okay, this is something new. Who's going to handle this? How are we going to handle this? But I think that just that communication throughout, knowing one another's strengths, weaknesses, and like he said, yielding to that and being willing to compromise, even if you don't get your own way about something. The ultimate goal is, let's build this business for our family and for the kingdom of God. We have lots of things that we want to do
as far as, on and on about that.
As far as, just,
goals and dreams.
Yeah, goals and dreams, different things we want to benefit. And so at the end of the day, it's like a difference of agreement worth not moving forward or causing it to have this deal fall through or delay, or no, it's not. We have an ultimate goal that we are trying to accomplish together.
So you've been married for 16 years and you've never done business together, right? And then your first business together is a 16-unit apartment building.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we know who was responsible for that.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's been a fast ride, but it hadn't been not been overwhelming at any point. It got close to being a lot the day before Friday, the day before closing. We closed on a Monday, and Friday was I woke up Friday morning thinking it'd just be a nice, calm, easy day. And man, it just hit the ceiling. Nothing necessarily bad from your perspective. You'd probably say it's a normal day before closing, but for us, it was like, oh my goodness, they need that. And Aaliyah stepped in like with her suit on, and she mediated between the attorney's office, the title company, and the bank, conference calls. And it was probably a bunch of stuff that was no big deal, but to us, it's what's going on? But it all worked out fine.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. All right. So now the last question here is, what's the future look like? What are your goals? Please share.
Goodness. So man, the future is bright. The future is bright. We've been blessed, and God's faithful. Everything we've touched in our lives, He's prospered. And I mean that. I can't really point back to a bunch of tough times or failures. We just don't have that testimony. We've just been blessed. And it's because we've surrendered our lives to Him. It's not like we're just special for any random reason. We've surrendered our lives to God and His purpose and will. And that's the number one reason why things go well with us. It just does. I believe strongly the enemy of great is good. And we're just not going to settle for good. We're not going to be okay with just mundane existence. Okay, we got 2 jobs and things are going well. We're not okay with that. We've got big goals, big things we want to do for our families, our communities, and even the world at large. And we do believe that anything is possible. We genuinely believe that literally. And to do the things we want to do takes a lot of capital, takes a lot of resources. And I believe this is the path that God has for us to get to those levels. A lot of this is attributed to Aaliyah. I'm big on inspiration and things like that. I'm always looking at quotes and memorizing things. And that's just who I am, my personality. But Aaliyah looked at me when we were right on the fence. And Peter, you didn't know this because you weren't in the picture just yet. We were working with another gentleman in the program, but we were looking at each other and considering the investment of time and capital and all that it takes to do this. And she looked at me. It's not that we can't fail, we just won't. And that just spoke volumes to me. And I began to broke down. I was crying. Like on this business call, me and the other individual, and we're on this conference call and deciding if we're going to proceed and not. And I broke down and she was right. And I knew then that this was for us to do. We didn't need days and days to pray and meditate. We knew God was putting us in our path. I just needed that push. So when that, it's not that we can't possible we could get in here and drop the ball and not be diligent and not follow your instructions and just do it our own way and not succeed. That's certainly possible. Sure, it happens. So she said, it's not that we can't do that because that's possible. We just won't. And I knew she was right. We're going to force success out of this operation. And by the grace of God, we've done that. Mm-hmm. Not that we've arrived, but we got our first.
We're on our way.
We're on our way.
That's right. That's right. Well, this was awesome. Thank you for sharing this powerful testimony of this achievement, right? It's huge. It's huge to go from 0 to 16 units in your first deals. And it's incredible. And it's so inspiring to people out there that it is possible. You don't have to have a PhD. You don't need to have a gazillion dollars in the bank. No. You don't have to have the brain of Einstein, right? You just have to have the qualities of Eric and Aaliyah. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that interview. In fact, I know you enjoyed that interview. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap up by just do a quick overview. Now, what you just saw was power and unity on display. What you just saw, that was exactly it. So Eric's strengths and Aaliyah's strengths. Eric has a strength of being a relationship builder. Aaliyah is an information gatherer. Eric is a problem solver. Aaliyah handles the fine print. Eric gets the seller's pain points. He goes out and he gets the seller motivation, and then she does the follow through. And guess what? Which makes it completely enjoyable and more effective for us as their coach and mentors, as they're both very coachable. All of this, okay? All of this equals, this is how family fortunes are made. By having these traits, these two are going to be very, very successful because of these traits right here, if they keep on going. And I know they will. Now, lastly, I'm going to finish up here. These are the 3 tips that Eric and Aaliyah shared to you couples, to you married couples out there, of how to do exactly what they did, how to be that effective that quickly. Number 1 is to have common goals, right? Have a strong why. Months ago, I interviewed them when they came in, and they basically told me their goals were to retire mom, to build up a retirement, leave a legacy for their family and 4 kids, and to do ministry work. That's powerful. That is powerful. Number 2, communication. Always include one another. We do these weekly coaching calls with many students, and Eric and Aaliyah on the line. So Eric is doing all the talking, and I can hear Aaliyah gathering all the information. That's how they got stuff done so quickly. Awesome team. Number 3, know each other's strengths and differences. Okay? You notice in the interview, Aaliyah didn't say strengths and weaknesses. She said strengths and differences. That's what they are. And number 4 and 5, they did not include, but I'm going to include for them because I saw this in them as their coach. Number 4, they held each other accountable. So there was accountability. And as we know, accountability is the glue that ties commitment to the result. And then number 5, they didn't put this down. I did. Encouragement. They are constant encouragers of each other. They give each other verbal affirmation. If you heard, Eric got emotional when he said, Aaliyah, I want to do this. And he said, not only can you do this, you will not fail. You will be successful. That's all a man needs to hear, right? So they give each other verbal affirmation or encouragement. That's it for today. So I hope you enjoyed commercial real estate investing with your spouse.